This is the EGC 20k Age of Empires 4 tournament. The semi-finals are on, only 4 generals still standing. Onward to a second battle! My name's Anuki, welcome to Dry Arabia! I am all for this matchup in this region, so introductions. Rendered in red, leading the Mongols is TheMista. They have previously suffered a defeat from the Mongols, and like zombies, they have turned into Mongols. Taking a long trek to the south, their naturally blue opponent is the Delhi Sultanate, commanded by Vortix themselves. This should be satisfying. I love seeing the Delhi Sultanate. Everyone has stuffed them at the bottom of the tier list. And then boom, here they are in the 20k tournament hosted by our overlords, the Elite Gaming channel. So as the Draenei would say, what brings you here? Well, the Delhi Sultanate have shown an eagerness to capture sacred sites in the Dark Age, the age that time forgot. It could be that is what is on Vortix's mind here. If not, then what else is there about the Delhi Sultanate to see? What can they offer and how will it fare against the Mongols? Because I don't see much. Gathering benefits from berries is okay. Research not costing money but taking longer to do is a neutral trade-off. There's nothing really sparking joy in the feudal age except for being able to capture those sacred sites early on. Now, if we get to the castle age with an economic lead, then maybe there is something, but it's largely coming from an economic lead gained from the sacred site gold and not having to spend money on research, rather than something like, I mean, there's such a huge list. Elephants, obviously, or the cool forced march ability where units sprint. Scholar research for increased vision, which makes them almost comparable to scouts. So amazing to integrate them into your army and get some free healing, but it's a struggle to keep them at the back behind units because they, for some reason, are programmed to charge ahead and not attack because they don't have attack capabilities. Other things like infantry and range units are capable of building walls. It's all very niche things. The Delhi Sultanate have lots and lots of research and uniqueness about them, but much of that is not translating into these games. It seems you have to really go out of your way to obtain the majority of these benefits, and then even further to actually integrate them into a live match. Meanwhile, the Mongols have a very direct integration. Double unit production, click of a button, just add stone, fast movement speed on things with legs, get the Yam network from the Deer Stones or in the Castle Age. You are just bolstering everyday Age of Empires units and natural occurrences. Wow, double scout out here. Things that players would normally do made stronger. And that isn't unique to the Mongols. All of the other civilizations are quite similar, except for the Delhi Sultanate. They're the ones that are the odd one out here. The enigma, the anomalia, but that's what makes them exciting to see. We've of course not seen China except once. We are having more scouts to the party. TheMista really doesn't want Vortix to have any more gold, and a spearman is gonna be devastating to scouts. Let's not discredit China, though. China suffers a problem which is kind of more to do with other civilizations at the moment being a bit too strong for China to get out of the feudal age. So we'll leave that conversation firmly there, whilst we see what perhaps TheMista has planned for all of these scouts. Vortix has managed to return to harvesting that gold. These scouts are maybe interested in just keeping tabs on the sacred sites. The only real downside here is that when a sacred site is being captured, it announces it to everyone anyway. The other downside being that scouts won't fare well in a fight against spearmen coming out of the barracks, but it shouldn't be too long until the feudal age arrives, and everyone's guessed it. Archers will most likely be some of the first actual trained folk to step foot into this world of barbaricness. Why must we fight? A soldier will ask, to which the leader mutters, shut up. Do as you're told and decap those sacred sites for the glory of Arm. Oh, now I want to play Baldur's Gate. Archers will be an absolute solid choice for TheMista here, and they've had plenty of warm-up from the Archer Fest the first round was. Vortix will be looking to claim all 3 sacred sites, mostly just to keep the gold flow. It's not going for the victory, it's just that the sacred sites provide money. That means TheMista's archers, assuming there will be lots of archers, will have to go between these sacred sites. There's a lot of divvying up your military resources here. I think the game of whack-a-mole is about to commence. TheMista will be doing the whacking. Vortix will be reloading the moles. Our Red Riders are riding right past the sacred site. I guess it's back to boot the villagers off the gold. There are spearmen coming out of the barracks to defend. Vortix is making good on the spear initiation investments. They've got an absolutely amazing advertisement campaign to get people into the spear-wielding occupation. Be a deer, grab a spear. Catchy slogan. Quite fond of spears myself, certainly one of my favorite weapons. When it comes to RPG games, not many people choose to wield the spear. Some say the spear chooses you. The right sacred site is Vortix's next move, whilst TheMista whacks the middle mole. There's a lovely stealth forest on the midpoint. Great for a tower and some archers. Towers may be TheMista's friend, perhaps to thwart Vortix's capping without needing military presence, at least not constantly. This is where maybe having infantry capable of building walls could come in handy once Vortix reaches the feudal age, at least. Box in the sacred site, forces infantry that have the capacity to burn things, or a battering ram. I believe you can wall in one of these sacred sites for around 150 wood, bit more than a tower. A tower could be good too. Whatever holds these longer to keep that sacred site gold trickling in. Let's harass the Uvu. TheMista will be met with the occasional defending sound of a horn until that's resolved. The scout regiment waiting for some titans to appear. Mobility gear at the ready. Preparing for the steam sails to raid their... This is way too many villagers and not enough sheep, although it does appear that they are all harvesting there. Everyone's doing their part. Would you like to know more? Oh my god, there's a Starship Troopers RTS coming out. And sadly, I'm very sad about this. Ultimate sadness. It does not look very good. I hope I'm wrong. It's very sad. Vortix's settlement looking happy though. Double blacksmith for double the research. It's free of charge, remember, so the only cost is that blacksmith. There's a market in progress. I doubt we'll see any trading. Not much profit to be made here. Instead, most likely looking to buy and sell resources as needed. Vortix also went the only choice of landmark for the Delhi Sultanate, the Dome of Faith. That's because the Tower of Victory is broken and not applying the buff consistently. The Tower of Victory applies 15% attack speed buff to most units that enter range of the building. Permanently? It sounds great. Just needs to work. TheMista putting the scouts to work by collecting deer across the map. Their old job of harassing innocent villagers is long gone. That's long behind them. They've been retrained to be more useful members of society again. Huzzah! Although Vortix might need to be careful not to get their deer stolen. Mr. Scouts might have turned from one criminal activity to another. From aggravated assault to burglary. There's only so many deer spots, so TheMista will definitely come check that spot out. They'll take as much deer as they can, as much as they can carry, back to the Red Settlement in the north. In fact, I think they're on their way now. Here comes the pillaging. Fill your hands full of meat, villagers. The Mongols are coming. Quick, Chet. back on the sacred site. Nope, not missing anything. Here we go. There is no battle to win here. It's simple thievery. Steal the deer, take it back. No one to stop them. TheMista leveling up their roguery. Quite the disappointment for Vortix. They'll have to find adequate food supplies elsewhere. Nobody wants to have to resort to building farms, especially in the feudal age where wood is more often than not needed for other activities. Vortix on 2 sacred sites. That lovely extra gold has catapulted them into the castle age. Well, sort of. TheMista seconds behind. They've had it easy knowing that Vortix will focus on the sites and not their base, so they've not needed to make as many defensive considerations. The House of Learning, the house that houses many unique technologies, including a house technology to make houses +5 more house. I don't know who would want that upgrade, but it's there. TheMista, of course, goes for the Steps of Redoubt, more gold to them, basically. And you kind of see how complicated the Delhi Sultanate are by comparison. When talking about anything Delhi Sultanate, it's just sentences and paragraphs like the out-of-control League of Legends characters. The descriptions just go all the way up the screen, full of passives and conditions and requisites and secondary effects. Anyway, it seems like we've skipped the feudal age entirely. I anticipated archers would be out in force. That prediction has not come true. I do enjoy being wrong. Vortix has men-at-arms out. I get the feeling some people look at men-at-arms as just a counter to archers, but nah, they were great as a core infantry unit. If anything, everything should revolve around a man-at-arms. They're your middle ground unit. Back them up with archers, augment them with cavalry flanks, supplement them with spears, have them protect siege units. Go torch a building or soak up a town center's arrow fire. TheMista's scouts might actually want to take a look at Vortix's village. They don't know its layout yet. If they are looking to score some blueprints, then TheMista is thinking they can attack soon. But what will they attack with? There's another scholar of Vortix. It sounds like a cult on their way to capture the eastern sacred site, whilst the scouts split up and search for clues. TheMista has got some heavy cavalry. Excellent independent unit. You are a strong and independent heavy cavalry. You don't need no army to stop a scholar and their lackey. Vortix, though, is attacking. It's going to be a heavy armored battle. Bits of chainmail flinging off everywhere. The path to the 4 spring-outs is open. All these men-at-arms and no line formation in front of them. You've got to spread your arms, your men-at-arms, far and wide so that they struggle to pass. Thankfully, they'll drive away at a reasonable pace. Around the buildings they go. Part of Vortix's army was fended away in the opposite direction. You just see how resilient and persistent men-at-arms can be. Whilst the kiting continues, over here TheMista has cut off reinforcements. Also heading to the sacred site to decap it. It's the last one to decap. They'll likely need more to defend with, but those units will come from the barracks and the stables. It's a good move from TheMista to divide up like this, because Vortix isn't gaining much. It's killing for the sake of killing. Vortix recalling whoever is left. Whilst TheMista's force regroups, they can share stories of their triumph around the campfire. It's a scary-looking red army. One this scout may discover. Yes. Yes, they did. Vortix has fanned out to the east and west to try and sneak some sacred sites. This will no longer work. TheMista can send individuals to fight for their cause. The cult of Vortix is gonna have to start paying taxes then. They can't just freeload off of these sacred sites anymore. Some of that money needs to be put towards organizing a defense, because the next battle will surely be on Vortix's land. The Steppes Redoubt has moved, and so must the Uvu too. The TheMista must reach a little further out, but it's good timing, circumstantial assuredly, that they were attacked before this happened. Now, as they look to press the attack, Vortix will be concentrating on holding their line as opposed to venturing outside of their territory. Lots of farms, lots of spearmen. The amount of spearmen could be concerning. The TheMista was packing mostly men-at-arms. Ideally, you would want men-at-arms backed up by crossbows to counter that. Nobody said anything about attacking in one big go, though. The TheMista targeting the berry-gathering operation. The villagers flock to the... Holy crackers on a Gundam suit! These guys are quick! That's sprint, that's fast! That's radical! Also note that Vortix did not reveal how large their men-at-arms division was, keeping that information a secret if possible. If that's truly what Vortix is doing, I'm gonna give them a gold star for strategy. Let the battle commence! The Spring Elves, if focusing fire, will overkill units. Scattering their shots would be more appropriate. The TheMista splits their siege of a great move. Now some of the Spring Elves can fire whilst others move. The blue spearmen of the Delhi Sultanate struggling against the men-at-arms. Vortix has split their infantry up to attack each group of Spring Elves. Divided though, they will fall to a united Mongol infantry platoon. For a fairly large battle, there's not as much wood, steel, or fallen on the ground. Definitely expected more. One of the Delhi Sultanate men-at-arms squad now on the run. A few siege machines survive. Most importantly, that mangonel. The TheMista is not going to be too interested in chasing them right now. They have more important things that they could be doing. Will that come back to bite them, though, as that squad approaches from the side? Oh, they take a mangonel shot. That's weakened them. The blue soldiers closest to us are getting cut to pieces. The farmers should be terrified. They could see this battle happen, but they knew they needed to get that last cup full of grain before the ship hits the can. That's what Grandma used to say. It is not a pretty sight. Combat envelops the world of the Delhi Sultanate. So they will go ahead and raise the white flag from atop their town center. The Delhi Sultanate has been defeated. Victory is claimed by the TheMista. To me, another exciting match. That was match 2, which means the next match will be bequeathed the title of match 30. It's 1-for-1 so far. Mongols have taken all the wins. But rules are rules. They can't be Mongols anymore. If you win with a civilization, you cannot play them again. So without further ado, let's go check out that next match. Do remember to look at the video description and join the Ironcast Discord for some fun adventures. My name's Anuki. I'll see you soon.